Welcome everyone. I think most of you know me by now, but if you don't, my name's Stephanie Steinberg. I'm the founder of the Detroit Writing Room and also the New York Writing Room. And I'm really excited for this book talk tonight. I am a huge fan of Judge Aquilina in many ways. And we're going to get to hear from her. You'll get to ask her questions. And without further ado, I'm very excited to welcome Judge Aquilina, who wrote All Rise. This is our second book talk with the Detroit Writing Room that she's participating in, and it's always a treat to have you here. Actually, it's your third one because you were part of our holiday book fair as well. So thank you for coming back again and again. And I will not take up too much time with the introduction because I want you to just spend the time sharing more about your book and your story. And if you guys have questions, hold them until about 7:30ish and we'll open it up after. So, and also we have 3 books to give away. So stay to the end in order to win. Without further ado, Judge Aquilina, the Zoom is all yours.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me. One of my favorite things to do in life is to talk about the books I write because my family will not talk about them with me, nor will they read them. So, and the characters in my books all become my friends. So I know them intimately and I love talking about them. So, and Lauren, it's okay that you didn't read it. Maybe you'll get inspired to actually pick it up. And I am honored that I come after Harry Potter. That's quite, that's quite a compliment. So thank you. So I am I'm going to talk about my writing first. I am what they call a pantser because I write by the seat of my pants. I don't make an outline. I break every rule that the nuns taught me in school. And if they heard how I write now, they would probably give me an F and tear up my previous report cards where I earned A's because I don't follow any rules. What I do is I get inspired and I sit down and I simply write with an idea. And I keep going to the next page and the next page, and I don't look back because what I've learned is that when you are in the editing process, if you have spent months and months on that very first chapter and you think it's perfect, some editor is going to take a big red pen or a big delete button and hit delete. And there goes months of work. And I have a pretty thick skin, so I don't take offense to that. But what I've learned, the lesson I've learned is just keep going to the next page. I will look back if I say, oh, geez, did I make that person's eyes blue or green or seafoam or whatever for some detail, which I try to take notes on in the margins. But I don't go back. And then I finish the book and then I set it aside for a couple of months while I work on something completely different. And then I go back to it with fresh eyes and I start reading. And then I find details that I missed, things I didn't tie up, things I wasn't clear about, things I thought were in the book because it's so much in my head that it didn't land on the page. And I say, well, where is that? And so then I have to fix that. And I try to then tie up all those loose ends. And then I will go through it probably 3 times doing that. And then I have 2 different editors that I like to use. One is more expensive than I like, so I only use him if I really, really need to. He's a published author about how to write, and he does a really, really nice job. When I get stuck, I will use him. But I also have an editor who I found by going to writing workshops, and she reminds me of the teachers that I told you I'm now not listening to. But what she does is she goes through and she'll say, okay, you only repeated this twice. It's more powerful if you repeat it a 3rd time. Periodic placement, just a lot of things that somewhere in my education I knew, in my writing it gets lost, or I think I did it. Or she will say, if you cut this sentence in half, it's much more powerful. And so I have learned to edit myself from her before she ever gets it. So she edits less and less every time because through what she doesn't just edit, she teaches me why she's editing. And for me, that's everything. That's the best kind of editor. A lot of them that you find, you'll pay them, they'll go through and fix the commas and the periods and ask you a few questions and circle things. And sure, can I figure it out? Yes. Do I understand why? No. Did they tell me the reasons why or what they were thinking? Sometimes, sometimes not. But I really like the person I work with because I learn so much. And I think my characters get stronger and bolder. And so that's how I write. And the ideas come to me from things that happen in my life. My first book, Feel No Evil, was about a question, or came from a question that, or I'm sorry, Feel No Evil came from, I was doing a lot of child abuse neglect cases, and it really came about from seeing women raped and the responsing and those kinds of things. And this was years before I'd ever been on the bench. Triple Cross Killer came about from a question my son asked me, which was, what happens to Santa Claus letters when they get in the wrong hands?
Yeah.
And a book was born. And All Rise, because writing for me is saving myself from a heart attack. Instead of getting upset, I write. When I can't go on vacation, I write. When I can't sleep, I write. And so I'm transporting myself into a new place, a new environment, and I can do what I want in Fantasyland, right? So in All Rise, as a judge, you would think that I'm at the top of my career and everything should be great and I'm in control and I have the gavel and the robe and I'm all powerful. It's not true. It's all a lie. Because there are other judges, and we all have big egos, and we all think we're right. And there's a chief judge, and the chief judge, who now is retired, in part because of some things he did to me. He's retired, but when I was a district court judge, we got along great. But when I got elected to the same level as him, somehow I became sort of the person he attacked. And he attacked a few other of my female colleagues, and both of them retired. But me, I just say, okay, well, you're not going to do that to me. And I sat down one day after he really harassed the hell out of me. And I just thought, okay. And I wrote All Rise. And of course, in All Rise, Nicoletta, the main character, is a judge. And much like me, wears cowboy boots, jeans, has a sense of humor, all the things that I like, too much coffee. And one day after she gets harassed by the chief judge, she says, I'd rather be a hairdresser. And she leaves the bench and she becomes a hairdresser. And of course, everything can be solved in a hair salon. And meanwhile, as she's planning this hair salon, her staff comes to help her with it. And then they have the opening day, and she's arrested for what? The murder of the chief judge, because you see that chief judge that bullied me, he's dead now. Okay. So in real life, I cannot kill him, but I can do whatever I want in fiction, right? So for me, that's a great stress reliever. And that's my, I'll show you kind of thing. So then out of the woodwork, comes all the people that, well, not all, but some fun people who Nicoletta has sentenced and has done really well on probation. And they say, I'm going to come help you because you helped me. And when the book opens, you will see the influence that the bench has on me, that being a lawyer has on me, that being a judge has on me. All of those cases that are before Nicoletta were from my courtroom. Changed a little bit, but essentially those are all cases that I had. And so you can see there's a little bit of humor and caring and all of that. And so those people that come back to me and want to help me or Nicoletta solve the mystery are people I know. The influence from this book comes from my life, actual defendants, actual police officers, everybody who affects me on the bench. And the story is born. And really, I started with the premise of I'm pissed off at the chief judge and he must die. And of course, Nicoletta has 3 men, Sebastian, Hunter, and Dexter. And I don't know which one you like or which one you like for her. But for me, as the author, I like all 3, and I'm looking for one man with those 3 men in them. So if you find him, please send him my way. Okay. So I really put the things I love, things I think about, things that have happened, and I pour them into the book. And I think that most writers do that. I think the better writing is from the pages of our own lives that end up in fiction on pages in a story. And so that's how I try to build my stories and engage the readers. And no, I don't have an outline. I do, however, I buy that really big Post-it note paper. And you can see, if you see I'm in my upstairs study here and in my bedroom and in my bathroom, I literally have paper, those big 3M Post-its all on my walls, on my mirror. And so if I have an idea, I write it down because sometimes I'll forget it and I'll be blow drying my hair and think, oh, that's a great line. And I'll write it down. So while I don't outline, I do have those huge pieces of paper around me. And I also have like a box of, I should say more than one box, but if I hear something in a restaurant, if I hear something in the classroom because I'm a law professor. If I hear something in the middle of the grocery store and I think that's a cool line, I write it down and then I sort of shove it in a box. I don't believe in writer's block because I think that we have a lot of stimulus around us. And so if I say, well, what's a great line? I might go through some of those notes or the papers and I look, and it might not be that exact line, but from what I've written before, I think, yeah. And if I modify it like this, it fits perfectly. So I use a lot of the stimulus I have around me, and that makes me never be stuck. In fact, I have so many things I'm writing at one time. My only problem is time to write. And I do try to take time to write every single day. I started out writing really on my lunch hours when I was working. And then if that didn't work out, I write in the middle of the night when I can't sleep. I write early in the morning before the kids get up. I try to find some time, and that's my way of self-care. Self-care is really this word that I think has come out in the last few years and is used. I hear it all the time. I didn't hear it all the time 20 years ago. But if I had to look at how I use my writing, it's my self-care time because it's my time, and I can take out my fears, my hopes, my dreams, my aggressions, my whatever with my characters. And I just find that terribly fun. So